So, Mercedes G-Wagon. I don't actually get it. Now, I'm not really talking about the brand new ones where like you can see these movie stars and footballers and whatever going out and buying, say, the AMG version. I can understand why someone would buy the AMG version with the big 6.3 litre engine, the V8 soundtrack that comes along with it. I can actually understand possibly why someone with a lot of money would buy one of those. But I'm talking more on the sort of like second-hand market where the car's quite a few years old. And it just seems bizarre that some people are paying these prices for these G-Wagons. So here I'll show you some of the prices, what I mean. And we've got here a list of like G-Wagons for sale. So we're looking, there's a, what's that, a 1991, 78,000 miles. And looking at 15,000. 17,000 for an 89, so what's that, 35 years old, and then they're still asking £17,000 for that. What's this one, 18,250 for a 94, a 1990. Okay, that's a bit of an army spec, that might be a bit different. But these cars that are like 20 or 30 years old, I don't actually get why they're commanding this high price. So these prices seem really high to me, especially when you consider what could the alternatives be. So if you just want to stick with Mercedes, say you're a Mercedes fanboy, I understand that. I like Mercedes myself, so I'm not actually going against the brand Mercedes here. I'm actually just these prices. So let's have a quick look at the Mercedes M-Class. So again, £20,000 will buy you a 2015 model. Like 19,500, that's going to get you 35,000 miles for another 2015. So I think you can see, like on the Mercedes M-Class, where we're sort of going. But, you know, M-Class, that turned into the GLE, so we'll have a look at the GLE in a second. So for the same sort of money, you can buy something like a Mercedes GLE. So here's a 2016 example, 45,000 miles on clock. That's 20. Another one at 20, that's for 2018. Less than 100,000 miles on the clock. You know, if you wanted a GLE AMG version, what's this one? 18,500 for 2016 with 127,000 miles on the clock. Okay, maybe you think that the GLE is not quite as big. So let's go and have a look at a GLS. So looking at the GLS, 20,000 will buy you a 2016. Okay, might be a bit high on that one. 22,000 there for 130,000, 2016. 23,000. So we're not talking that much more than what some people are paying for sort of pre-2000 model G-Wagons. So you could have a GLS, you could have a GLE, you could have an ML, all for the same sort of price of a 35-year-old G-Wagon. Now, I've had a ML and I actually liked it. And if I compare driving the ML back to the G-Wagon that I tried, the G-Wagon just seemed a lot more utilitarian and not really as refined as, say, the ML. Now, the ML obviously is gone on to be the later versions of the ML and then the GLE, which I presume has got more refined with every model. So why are people spending the same money for a G-Wagon compared to, say, a GLE? Perhaps the ML or the GLE you think is too small, so perhaps you want to go and have something a bit bigger. Well, some of these G-Wagons, we're talking about the 3-door versions, but let's say you want something bigger. You could have the Mercedes GLS for around similar sort of money, for again a lot newer, and in my mind a lot more refined, much more comfortable, much more luxurious car. But you know, there are other cars from other car companies out there. You've got the Porsche Cayenne, you've got the Range Rovers, you've got the, perhaps you just want more of a chunky 4x4, so maybe you want something like a Land Cruiser with a 4-litre V8 engine in that. All these seem to be a lot newer car for the same sort of money. So my thing is, I don't actually understand why people are paying, say, 10 times as much for a G-Wagon to what they could do for the same sort of age, say, Range Rover, or if they're paying, if it's the money that they're paying and they've got that sort of income to spend on a car, why are they not buying, say, a newer Range Rover or a Porsche Cayenne or say Mercedes GL or GLS as they became later. You know, why are people actually spending this money for like a 35-year-old or 30-year-old G-Wagon? It's not a thing against 4x4s. I've had 4x4s myself. I use one for work. They're great for towing. They're great for throwing all your stuff in with the family. I understand the point of having 4x4s. It's just really why people are paying so much money, which seems completely ludicrous to me, for the G-Wagon, when if I went back 30 years when I was actually looking at buying a G-Wagon, the one I was looking at was about 1 year old. And I think it was only 22,000 then as a 1 year old version. But I just don't understand this high price on the second-hand market for the G-Wagon. So if you know why, if you know why it's such a desirable car, then please mention in the comments. So thanks for watching. Rant over.